This is our lesson number 20 of the Life in the UK course from the Study Guide 2026 edition, which is the latest book issued by the Home Office. This is the general introduction of the book. So if you'd like to know more about the book, so please stop the video here and just read these details. If you have the book with you, very good. If you don't have the book, you can borrow it from the library, or if you just watch this video, that would be okay. I will teach you book page by page. So today we will be starting from page number 58, and we'll be starting from the topic Europe and the common market. So West Germany, France, Belgium, Italy, Luxembourg, and Netherlands formed the European Economic Community, which is EEC, in 1957. This is extremely important because that was the foundation of European Union. So these are the 6 countries which basically formed the EEC, European Economic Community, in 1957. Most of the time it would be the date, which is 1957, but sometimes you will be asked which 2 or 3 countries from the list of 4 countries were part of the European Economic Community, or the founders of the European Economic Community. Okay. The EEC became part of the European Union when it was formed in 1993. So when 1993 European Union was formed, but obviously EEC was the foundation of this European Union. So now EEC was founded in 1957 and European Union was founded in 1993. The UK was a full member of the European Union, but did not use the euro currency. When UK joined the European Union, despite the fact it was the member of EU, but it did not use the euro currency. It was the only country which had its own currency in the European Union. Rest of the countries used euro. The UK formally left European Union on the 30th of January 2020. That's very important. In the old books you will not have this. Why? Because UK left after Brexit. So that's a very important date. Conservative government from 1979 to 1997. And we will be reading about Margaret Thatcher now. Margaret Thatcher was the daughter of a grocer from Grantham in Lancashire. She trained as a chemist and lawyer. She was elected as a Conservative MP in 1959 and became the cabinet minister in 1970 and the Secretary of Education and Science. Yeah, so that's important. You should know whose daughter she was. 1975, she was elected as the leader of the Conservative Party, so became the leader of the opposition. These are very important dates about her, and she's a very important figure, remember, in British politics. Following the Conservative victory in the general election in 1979, Margaret Thatcher became the first woman Prime Minister of the UK. I would bracket this paragraph and put a tick mark next to it because that is the most important paragraph on this page. So she's the first woman Prime Minister who became Prime Minister in 1979, and also she was the longest serving Prime Minister of the 20th century, remaining in office until 1990. So it's more than 11 years almost. During her premiership, there were a number of important economic reforms within the UK. She worked closely with the United States President Ronald Reagan and was one of the first Western leaders to recognize and welcome the changes in the leadership of Soviet Union, which eventually led to the end of the Cold War. Okay, so these are some important details. Sometimes you will be asked which was the president with whom she worked closely, and it is the US President Ronald Reagan. Okay, and she also helped to end the Cold War. Margaret Thatcher, Britain's first woman Prime Minister, led the Conservative government from 1979 to 1990, as we read in her biography. The government was made structural changes to the economy through the privatization of the nationalized industries, imposed legal controls on trade and union powers. Yeah, that's one of the biggest changes in our government. So through the privatization of nationalized industries. So she privatized industries, and you remember in Attlee's government, the big industries like railway and the coal and electricity and all of these, they were nationalized, means made they were brought under the government's control, and she privatized, she sold it to the private owners. Okay. And this is how privatization was encouraged. The allegations saw a great increase in the role of the City of London as an international center. Okay, so we can move on. Insurance, other finances, traditional industries such as shipbuilding and coal mining declined. Now, these are some of the aftermaths of privatization. Big industries declined. In 1982, Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands. That's important. A British overseas territory in the South Atlantic. A naval task force was sent from the UK, and military action led to the recovery of the islands. Right, so this was one of the achievements of Margaret Thatcher's government. Argentina invaded and attacked Falkland Islands, which was British overseas territory, and she she sent in her government, a naval task force was sent, and that overseas territories, which is Falkland Islands, was recovered, and once again the UK gained control over its overseas territory. So John Major was the Prime Minister after Mrs. Thatcher, and helped establish the Northern Ireland peace process. After Thatcher, the Prime Minister was John Major, and the important thing was peace treaty with Northern Ireland. Roald Dahl. Okay. Now, Roald Dahl was born in Wales to Norwegian parents. He served in the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. It was during the 1940s that he began to publish his books and short stories. He was a writer. Obviously, he was a soldier before. He is most well known for his children's book, although he also wrote for adults. His best known work is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and George's Marvelous Medicine. Several of his books have been turned into films. Okay, so you could remember that he was born in Wales to Norwegian parents. Okay, he served in the British Air Force, Royal Air Force. Okay, and then he became the writer. Now, you will have a question about his works. For example, who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or George's Marvelous Medicine? Or sometimes they will ask you a question like that. Which of the two books are from Roald Dahl, or Roald Dahl books? Take two options. Okay, so you will have four options and you have to take these two. Labour government from 1997 to 2010. In 1997, the Labour Party led by Tony Blair was elected. The Blair government, okay, again, important thing. The Blair government introduced a Scottish Parliament and a Welsh Assembly known as, now called the Senate. And okay, so these are the two big landmarks in Blair's government: Scottish Parliament, introduction of Scottish Parliament, and Welsh Assembly. So these are devolved administration. The Scottish Parliament has substantial powers to legislate. The Welsh Assembly was given fewer legislation powers, but considerable control over public services. In Northern Ireland, the Blair government was able to build a peace process, resulting in the Good Friday Agreement signed in 1998. That's most important in this page. So there was troubles, as I said before, in Northern Ireland, and they were not very happy with the UK policies and the government attitude towards them. And obviously there was violence, there were attacks, there were terror attacks. But in 1998, they signed a treaty, an agreement, and that's known as the Good Friday Agreement, which resulted in the peace process. That's very important. Northern Ireland Assembly was elected in 1999, but suspended in 2002 again. So there were quite a number of problems. Okay, it was not reinstated until 2007. Most paramilitary groups in Northern Ireland have commissioned their arms and are inactive. Gordon Brown took over as a prime minister in 2007. Okay, so these are some of the important bits from Tony Blair's government, and then Gordon Brown became the prime minister in 2007. 7. Conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq. Throughout 90s, Britain played leading role in coalition forces involved in the liberation of Kuwait following the Iraqi invasion in 1990. Okay, so that's important. And the conflict in the former Republic of Yugoslavia. Since 2000, British armed forces have been engaged in the global fight against international terrorism and against proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, which have never been found, by the way, including operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, and British combat troops left Iraq in 2009. So these are those facts in the backdrop of Afghan war and attack on America, 9/11, and all these big events. The UK now operates in Afghanistan as part of the United Nations mandated 50 Nations International Security Assistance Force, okay, coalition at the invitation of the Afghan government. So ISAF is working to ensure that Afghan territory can never be used as a safe haven for international terrorism, with groups such as Al-Qaeda and plan attacks on the international community. So although there is no war, but they are still there to just protect people and to make sure that Afghan government Afghan land is not used for terrorism. Right, okay, we can move on to the next one. Right, 2010 onwards and Brexit. In May 2010, and for the first time in the UK since February 1974, no political party won overall majority in the general election. The Conservative and the Liberal Democrat parties formed a coalition, and the leader of the Conservative Party, David Cameron, became the Prime Minister. Yeah, so that happened in 2010, and this happened before 1974 as well, but since then, obviously one party would have majority, but in 2010 no party had majority, so that's why so David Cameron's Conservative Party and Nick Clegg's Liberal Democrats, they joined hands together and they formed the government, which is called the coalition government. Okay, so the Conservative Party won the majority of the general election on 7th May 2015, and David Cameron remained Prime Minister. The Conservative, again, so these are any dates which talk about political change are important, okay? The Conservative government called a referendum on the UK's membership of the European Union. Okay. This was held on the 23rd of June 2016, the Brexit vote, and the UK voted by a margin of 51.9% to 48.1% to leave the European Union. Means very small margin, 51.9% people said that we should leave European Union, whereas 48.1% said we shouldn't leave European Union. So it was a very close margin, and that's why we have problems after that, because it's not a huge majority that voted for Brexit, and there was some obviously information, and some people spread false lies, and they made Britain to exit European Union, and now you could see there are many problems, cost of living going up, prices rising. Obviously there are other factors like COVID, but before that the prices were very stable, and obviously European Union is free movement between the whole of the European Union countries, and transport and everything was and goods movement was easy. But obviously after that, I mean, it's a huge topic. David Cameron was succeeded as a Prime Minister after the referendum by Theresa May on 13th of July 2016. Okay, so after David Cameron, 13th July 2016, Theresa May became the Prime Minister. She in turn was succeeded by Boris Johnson on 24th of July 2019. The UK formally left the European Union on 31st of January 2020. So there is a huge number of change of governments and prime ministers, and it's unfortunate that in the last 10 years, 7 prime ministers changed, okay, which obviously is not mentioned here, but as you could see that from David Cameron to Theresa May to Boris Johnson, it's already quite a number of movements here. So this is what happened in the post-war war Britain. So now you could stop the video here and answer these questions, um, and then go back in your books or in the video to check your answers to see how much you have done correct, and then self-mark yourself. All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Any questions in the comments, I would definitely answer those questions. Okay. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.